Okay guys, welcome back to another Tyranobuilder video. I'm just basically studying this software, as I say, Tyranobuilder, which is obviously this software here, okay, for making visual novel style games, and I like it a lot. Previously I was using RenPy, still will be using it, love RenPy, but I like this because it's cool. The features are really cool and easy to use. I would say Tyranobuilder even more so. It's like, plus there are not well, basically there's no coding involved or anything like that. It's just literally just clicking on things, you know, and it works like that, you know. Okay, so let's just look at this. So if you watch my other video, you'll see a lot of stuff. What I'm doing here for some notes for myself, this may or may not look confusing to you. I'm going to explain it to you. What this basically is, I'm in Notepad here, and I'm trying to work out like a plan for how I would make a story, like a game, a visual novel, which is going to branch off into different things. The best way is just to go straight into this and just explain what I'm doing. This is for a basic setup for plans for myself. So let's just have a look and show you. This is Notepad, okay, I've got open here. I'm also going to open up an art software called Fire Alpaca while I'm here, just for something to show you visually, just to get the idea, okay, what we're doing. Let's see. So while I'm in this here, let me see. So yes. So I don't know what it is. There's a thing with Fire Alpaca with there's various things here. I want to have this thing where I can just, where it only shows the one that's visible. Don't worry, the layer, but let's just go with it. Okay, so yeah, hold on a second. So this is an art software which I always use to create art, and I make my own animation as well, as I say. But I think this is like one of the older versions. Let me just turn it off because I've got a newer version as well. We'll drag this into here and see what happens. Yeah, this is the newer version. Okay, so we'll drag it in. It's got another feature here saying show only active layer. That's what we want to have basically. So I'm going to have a bunch of layers here, and we're going to start. So let's imagine, okay, and I'm not doing real art in this video, I'm just showing you a basic idea for the setup of the game. Excuse me. So let's imagine, okay, that I have 4 different areas. Okay, this is one area. It's like a map. It's like a map. Okay, 4 different areas. I could have multiple areas if I wanted to. You know, this could be the garden. This could be the swimming pool. I don't know. I'm just giving you whatever here, you know, just for fun. This is the purple temple, and then let's just say this red one here is the room. Okay, it's called room. And I'm going to go in here with just a black pen really quickly and just show you. So let's imagine, okay, if I go in here and let's just type in room, okay. So I'm going to type or write it in, basically room, kind of like that. So let's imagine, right, that we've got a character here, and you know, basically you can let's say click the game. You'll be using your mouse to click on various things. So let's say you've got these different areas, they've all got different names. I'm not going to write it here, but this one, okay, this one here, the room, is room. Now let's say, for example, we're going to enter this room, and you may not even choose like a map like this, like a top-down map. It might be like you're just walking down the street in a picture, you know, and you'll see like a doorway on the right. You might click on the doorway and you'll enter this room, okay. So let's go in now. Let's imagine, okay, let's imagine now that when we enter the room, we want to see this room, okay, and let's see, it could be any way. It could be like a top-down version. So this is the room, yeah. And once you're in here, this picture shows up of the room. It could be a bird's eye view with like different people in the room. There could be like a few people in this, you know, a bunch of people in the room, you know. Or it could be like you see the room, literally there's a table here or something, and there's a guy over here, you know, standing here, and he's called Joe. Let's just say he's called Joe, okay. And this is Joe. I'll put his name here as well, just so you guys can understand. You know, this might be a room. He's inside this room. There's a window. You know, whatever. There is a door here, or let's say, I don't know, some shelves or something with some books on the shelf. I don't know. And he's in this room, okay, with his bowl of breakfast. You know. So let's just imagine he's here, right? Now, let's look at that now as we have this. So we have two images. The first image is our map, and then we go into the room here. This room, we click on the red. We click on it. This, you know, this one, the room, and we end up. It goes straight to here, to this picture. Now we're in the room, and there's this character called Joe in the room, right? Now we could, if we wanted to, I could even do that differently. So let's just imagine. Okay, let's just imagine our character's here. I'll make him blue. And I'll just cut him out for a second. Oh, copy paste. I'm going to put him over this side. Change the colour a little bit. Go there and then merge down. Okay, so now he's there. There's another character. Let's pretend there's another character in the room, right? And this character is called, I don't know. Give us some hair. A little dress or whatever. This is called some stuff. This is called Sue. Maybe this character is called Sue. Okay, so you know, Joe and Sue. Right? So we got two characters to choose from now, and I can click on one of them. There'll be like a way to click. It'll either be like a clickable area on the image, or it'll be a button. You know, as a choice, so you choose which one you want to. Who you want to talk to. I think really it'd be making more sense to have it like a clickable area. Don't forget these images can also be animated as GIFs. So now let's go into our plan and look at what we have. So in my notepad here, what I've got is a setup. Now you'll have to focus on my highlighting as I show you. Okay, so let's look at this, make it bigger for you. I've given it abbreviations, so I'll explain what I'm doing here. At the top of any page in Tyranobuilder, there's a page break. As you see, it's page break, right? So let's just have a look what we got here. Okay, so yeah, so there's a page break at the start of the page, and there's also a stop at the end of a page. If not, then a jump, and the jump will take you to another, you know, another page or another label, you know. And don't forget the pages. Okay, the pages. Okay, I'm going to put here page equals scene. That's just how I'm looking at it. Okay, so there's a page break. Okay, and then we have page equals scene. I'm just letting you know, because that's what it is. When you go to a new scene, it's like it's a full page, and at the top of the page you have a page break. At the bottom of your page there's a stop, or there's going to be a jump, right? Now looking at this here, what do we have? So the first thing that shows is the level. Okay, the room picture, which is this one I've just shown you here with the two characters, the room. Okay, this picture would show up if I was to enter room from the map. I would go to this picture here, right? Now I've not put the map there, basically I've not added the map. So from here we're just starting it directly from room. Okay, and L, whenever you see L here, I'm using this for label. Okay, this is just a little plan for me. This is not the correct way to type it. This is just a plan for me, showing an example here in Notepad for you guys and myself to understand. So L in this, what I'm doing here for me is L stands for label. Okay, and the label is the room. Obviously that would be one label that you would go to by clicking on it, right? And so before this, above there, there would have to be more. Basically, you'd have to have the map and everything. But let's just pretend that the map doesn't exist. Okay, and we only have room. Okay, room, and the whole game starts from this room. Let's pretend the game starts here, right? because what I'm doing is I'm just trying to make it simple so that we understand what things will look like in a certain room, okay, in a certain area of the game, basically a page. So I'm making a whole page, a whole scene dedicated to this page is what I'm doing. This room, the whole scene is dedicated to this one place, which is the room. So this image will be on the screen, okay, for example. Okay, so page break, we've entered this area from the map, which is room, and it's a label. It starts off with a label. Music starts to play, so play music, and BG obviously stands for background, and the background is obviously a simple image like this, as I've just shown you. Okay, now I've put a branch here, okay, or it could be a clickable area, clickable area, or it could be a branch, okay, to Joe. Okay, let me just cut that out, put it here. Okay, so it could be a branch or it could be a clickable area, okay, which is going to be for Joe. So what I'm saying is if I hover my mouse over Joe, as I say, and click on him, or if I click on a button what might show up with his name on saying Joe, you know, then I can talk to Joe. I've not added a one for Sue here. I could do the same thing, so you know, excuse me, sneezing. I could add the same, a branch or a clickable area, one of the two, a branch button, branching button basically, or a clickable area, which will take me to Joe, or another one which could take me to Sue. I've just decided to make it simple and have one character here, so branching to, because this whole thing is an example of what we're going to do with Joe, with one of the characters here, okay? That's what this whole page is. I'm in a room and I'm going to talk to a character, interact with this character, and in this case the character is Joe. Excuse me. Okay. Excuse me there. So basically, so after we've added our branches or our clickable areas, either way, we also need to add a stop. We have to add that. Stopping basically the label now, so it's from label all the way down to stop. Anything in between label and stop, there's stuff in between happening, right? Just basically, you know, music and a background picture followed by, you know, these branches, these choices we've been put here. Stop. Now after the stop is when we add new labels. So the first label is obviously going to be Joe with a background, right? Yeah. Now why I put this in here is because background again is I might want to change the picture, right? So let's imagine, so when we click on Joe, when we click on him, we might actually see Joe. Let's just make it nice and simple for ourselves. Copy, paste, and let's just imagine now I just move him over here and he's on the screen and Joe's talking to us, right? You understand? So let's imagine that. So I'm here on the map, then we go to here. I click on Joe from the branch, which takes me to the new label, which is Joe on the screen. And then now Joe will be having a conversation with us. His name might not be at the top, of course, but you know. So here we are in this part of the plan now, okay? So this is Joe and his picture shows up. I've kept the music the same. I've not changed the music. I've just kept the music the same. Right. Let me just check something first of all. Sometimes things like music or certain things you may have to move around. Like I might need to put it up. Like for example, I may need to put this music or certain things and background changes like just before the outside of this label here, room. Sometimes, because otherwise it might not change, right? You know, sometimes you might need to do it, just make sure it's outside. If it's something that you want the mute, like for example the music especially, because we've shown many changes of backgrounds, but the music, it might stop playing once we get to stop here, see. So if you want the music to continue through all of the conversation with Joe and everything, it might be better to put the music, you know, here, like just outside of the label of room at the very start here, see? So it's on the scene, but it's not just for one specific label, if you know what I mean. It's playing in the scene no matter what, and then we start our label with background, you know, and the branches or clickable areas leading to Joe. We've got a stop following that, and then because we've clicked on Joe, we end up going to Joe, the label of Joe, with his picture, which is basically this one. Once we've clicked on him, and then it comes up and we see him here. Okay, now a label shows up. Now I didn't actually have to necessarily have it, I guess. I mean, in fact, yeah, I didn't really have to have that, because we've got a label here saying how are you, right? So really, in all honesty, I think really these two, the label of, you know, Joe, and I could have just called it Joe, how are you? See, Joe, and then he basically says how are you, you know. But I just made it simple if I was doing that. But so I could just put this here under this label is what I'm saying. So BG, okay, so change it back and have it like this. So okay, it takes us to the label. If we click on Joe, it takes us to this label saying Joe, and Joe is saying how are you, right? He's saying, basically saying how are you, okay? The background obviously changes, you know, obviously, and how do we know he's saying how are you? Because this is just the name of the label. The name of the label is how are you, okay? Well, basically, we've got this. We've got a show text. Okay, watch show text, and then we have the text, and he might be talking to us. So he basically just says blah 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 blah. He talks to us, okay. And finally, in the end of all of his, the last thing he says after he's given us a bit of an introduction and blah 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 blah, he'll say how are you, which is the name of this label too, don't forget, how are you. And then what we have is remove, okay, remove text, because every time you add text you must have these three things: show text, followed by text, followed by remove text. Okay, now we're not going to add a stop, because we need to next, after we've removed the text, we need to basically show a branch for good and a branch for bad. That's going to be the player answering. Say, oh, I'm good. After he says, how are you? You say, yeah, I'm good, thanks. I'm doing great, blah, blah, blah. You could have a long text if you wanted to, but I didn't bother putting text in. I just kept it like this, a simple answer, good or bad, followed by a stop. There must be a stop added after the two branches, after any number of branches. And for each branch, remember, the branches lead you, the same as clickable areas, they lead you to labels. So for each one, like the good branch or the bad branch, see, these are like keys for doors, so they're like branches for labels. And so there must be a stop after the branches, and then we must have a label for good, because that's where it's going to take us to, and also a label for bad. And under each of these labels I've given text. So after the player just clicks on the button saying good or bad, the answer, the Joe will continue talking to us, okay? And Joe will say, and I've not added him as a character, I've just, like with his name on the screen, it's not like that, it's just basically just text on the screen, right? So three things again, so show text, text, remove text. But what I've made him say is just okay. I say, oh, yeah, I'm doing good, thanks. He says, okay. So now, lastly, we have jump to room, and it's the same for the bad answer. So show text, text. He goes, oh, and then remove text. And the last thing again, jump to room. So at the end of those two answers of the conversation, so at the end of those two answers he gives, I've given jump to the room. It's not a stop, but what it does is it takes us back, jumps us back to the label, which is entitled room. The label is titled room right at the very start. Yeah. Now, why am I taking us back there? Because in this room there's got to be more things than what we're currently seeing. I want to just mention that just really quickly, okay? So, for example, if the whole game takes place in this room, then we don't need to add another label, like another branch to another label, which would be like, let's say, the, where is it, the map area, because the whole game is taking place in this room per se. But when we finish talking to Joe here, we need to jump back to the room, this here, the room, okay? And what from this room we want to be able to click on different characters. Currently we're only able to click on Joe, right, and talk to Joe. We've seen what happens there. And if we want to talk to Sue, or let's say any of 50 more characters, we're going to need to add all this stuff in. So you can see how complicated it could be to look at, especially when you're in Tyranobuilder, because a lot of these, even though there's a color coding system like green for images, yellow for characters, purple for certain things like this here, the text messages and stuff, a lot of them are pink and they look the same. And when the whole thing gets really long, unless you're working with many different scenes, which is one way you could work with it, I guess, which is not what I'm doing here, because what I'm doing is I'm keeping this all in one scene with the page break at the top. It's basically everything that happens I'm showing you here is happening within the room level. But what I'm saying is from this room level, what can we basically do? At the moment we're not going to any other places in this example, but what we are doing is making different things happen, and currently only one thing is happening. We've got a branch or a clickable area which leads us to Joe, and this is what it is. This Joe thing is a label Joe. Okay, hold on. Yeah, Joe. Oh, okay. So even that's wrong. See, it should be a. Well, that's right. Yeah. So you click on Joe, and it takes us to the how are you? You know, the Joe label basically. And all of this here, the whole script, if you like, this whole thing, which doesn't look a lot, but it's a lot kind of when you get loads of stuff going on. This whole thing is happening under. Just from this one branch. See, all of this dialogue, the two choices, what you make or whatever, it could go on longer even, but it's coming from just the one choice you've made from the branch there by clicking on Joe. So what I'm trying to say is if we had more characters in here, like for example another branch or lots more branches, let's just imagine, okay, if I copy this and paste it in a nice clickable area to the character's name is Sue, right? Sue. So that means we would have to have a whole thing. I mean, I can copy and paste it, of course, and just to make it nice and easy to find here, I'm just going to make it simple for myself. I'm going to go down here, further down. I'm going to put some marks or something here, just so I know it's easy to find for myself. Okay, I'm going to go down here and paste this all in, and this is a good way to do it if you're using like a notepad or even maybe Word, because you can change the colors and stuff. And Word would be good to use, or maybe even Excel, because you can have these side by side in different spreadsheets, but yeah, this would be a similar thing. So you see from here now at the start, we've got a branch now, a clickable area for Sue, meaning in the room level with the background here, we could click on Sue. Where is she here? This character on the screen on the left, and basically I would just be able to, that would take me to a whole thing. So we're going to keep it the same, like we jump back to room once we finish talking to her, etc. A couple of things will need to be changed, obviously. You know, so Sue would say something. You know, it might be, are you hungry? Yeah. And I'll copy that just quickly to make it simple. She might say, are you hungry? You see what I'm saying? All the rest is the same. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to keep this as a note to keep your notes. And then one answer might be for yes, I am starving. And the other one would say no, I'm full. I had something already. See, for example, just for example, okay. You know, okay. And these are branches, so you know they're buttons, right? And they would take us to labels, you see, and we can make the labels simple or just put it ever, you know, whatever way. I'm just going to copy and paste them for simpleness. So for this one, we've got one label for yes, I'm starving, and one label for, you know, no, I'm full, I had something already. Okay. Don't forget, so everything's the same here, you see. So Sue says, are you hungry? Okay, then it's the same background. The background will change, meaning, don't forget, we have to have a background for her as well. Meaning, so we'll go over here, let's click on it just really quickly, keep it simple. Hold on. Boom, boom. And we'll just make this really big and zoomed in, like pretend she's talking to us. Here, Sue. Can't see her name, it doesn't matter. So if we click on Sue from here, if I click on it, it'll be like this, and you'll see her talking. She'll say, "Are you hungry?" Blah blah blah. With music playing the whole time. Yes, I'm starving. No, I'm full. I've had something already. Click on one of these two. There's a stop before those two. It says, yes, I'm starving, and then her answer will be, I'll get you some food. Yeah. It's going to be really cool. You can have like 3D characters or 2D, whatever. Once that's finished, you know, you'll see what happens. So, yeah, you might say thank you or something, you know, it depends what's going to happen. You can have character text coming on the screen. You know, and then the other one might be, okay, just checking with you. Just checking with you. And then it goes back. See, so you might want to, you still might want to say have like character, like the characters talking, you know what I mean? So there's a thing where you can do that. Hit save here. Keep hitting save when you're doing any work in any software. But I say you might want to do something where the characters are talking. So for example, I've got text here talking, right? And remember, before the text, whatever they're saying, anything they're saying, you may want to have like the name, and to have the name you'd have to put it like, you know, like I say, you'd have to have like £, where is it, £, and then put the name Sue, and then put your text, or another line it would be when you're actually doing that. It's called the £, apparently, but it's the hashtag, you know, and that will show the name of the character that's talking. So what I'm saying is when the character, when you've given your answer, like the player is going to click on, let's say, no, I'm full, I had something already, or yes, I'm starving. Once the character's clicked on that, you'll see even there's an answer anyway, right? But if you wanted to show, like if you really wanted to show text before we get to the, well, if we wanted to show text, then the stop would be here, and when we get to that label, there's going to be text showing, right? And currently this text is, I'll get you some food, for example, is the answer what she's going to be giving you. But if I wanted to make it clear that, like, if I'm talking or if they're talking, who's talking, you know, I would have to, sorry, I'm saying if I wanted to make it clear that who is actually talking, who's saying this, I'll get you some food. If I wanted to show the name, I'd have to have those characters added in the software, in Tyranobuilder. Adding characters like I showed you in the previous video. You can add characters in. Go and watch that video. And you know, the names of them and maybe the images or whatever, if you wanted to do that, you know. And whether or not like you show the character's image on the screen, I don't know. I mean, I've not done a lot of work on this, but I know I'm still learning myself. But I'm saying you can add this pound sign on this hashtag and put the name, either Joe or Sue, right? In this case. Now, let's imagine we don't just want to jump back to the room after she said, "I'll get you some food." You might want to you know, literally show some more text. So we've removed that text with that character speaking, and we might want to show some more text, right? So like go in here now, before we leave the room, like, or leave and jump back to room, or leave to go anywhere, we might want to put some more in, like more text, show text, and then put the player's name. So my name is Richard, right? We'll just put player. Let's imagine your name is Neo, like in the Matrix. So Neo, his name will come on the screen, and Neo might say, you know, thanks a lot, you know. See? So you can put different text, like this character speaking first, then another character speaks, you see, and there's a hashtag or a pound sign as they call it, see, before, and we're followed by the name. And when you put the text, when they're speaking, you would have to put thanks a lot on another layer, another line would be below the hashtag with the name, okay? But I'm not doing that here because I'm just showing you, just keeping it simple in this notepad, okay? Okay, so you know, you might want to have like as well different things happen. So for example, when she says, "I'll get you some food," and then and I might say, yeah, you know, thanks a lot, you know. Now before you say that, or after that, at any time you might want to change the image to like a background. So I could put a BG, for example, just here, BG, and I know what that means, background, and I understand it means change the background. So now you might see an image of like some food on the table, or like she's giving him some food and he says thanks a lot. You see what I'm saying? To show like anytime you put that in, that background change, like change background basically within Tyranobuilder, where is it? Here, this one, like change background. You can drag that in here. See, anytime you change the background, anytime you can choose a picture. You know, animations too, by the way, or videos you can bring in too. It's really good, and sounds and music. Just try to keep whatever you want showing, be it text, images, videos, sounds, anything, has to be between your label and your last part, which would be jumping, like leaving a label to go to another label, or like I said, a stop. So the reason I've not put a stop here is because we want to literally jump straight somewhere else, like directly. See, but the difference is when you have a stop button, like a stop function, that's following the fact that I've been given two choices, right? I've got two branches, like a branch here and a branch here, for example. See, another up here, a branch and a branch, see, or a clickable area and a clickable area. We can't just say jump to a certain place, right? Because there's literally a choice of two different places to go to. So each one of those, that's what they do. They are in themselves an action like of jumping. It directly takes you to a specific label, in this case Joe or Sue. It could be, you know, like here, branch, good or bad, right? You see what I'm saying? So branches take you to labels, but there must be a stop after them. Is basically the deal, okay? But yeah, if you want music playing the whole time, obviously I think the best thing to do is have this music here, if you're not changing it, like outside of the any of these other separate labels. You know what I mean? Yeah, if you wanted different music playing at different times, you'd have to put them in between different labels and stops. Remember, like I say, labels and stops, or like I say, labels and jumps. You see what I'm saying? Okay, now, so why, you may be wondering, why have I done it like this? Why have I typed everything like in such abbreviated forms? One, it's just suitable for me, just very convenient, so I can understand it and follow it and read it conveniently for me. I'm just doing some practice, that's what I'm doing, okay? And also the indentation, the way I've typed it, like here, and I put this 1, 2, 3 a little bit indented because I know that they're together, the text thing. Another reason, and I've done this here to separate between the two different characters or two different parts, copied and pasted that area, but the thing I'm saying is the reason I've done this, okay, in Notepad to show you here and to show myself, is because it's more convenient to work with this way. So I'm just going to hit save, hold on, and I think this is a good thing to work with. You can as well, as I say, work with Excel. That'd be a very, very good way to work things, I think. But I think really Word would be probably better to use than this, what I'm using here, really. I should have used Word. And the reason I say that is because of the fact that we can have coloured text and stuff. I mean, in a real all fairness, I mean, Excel might be good to use as well. But I think this is a good format, just having it simple with large text. If I just turn this off for a second and go into Word, it's definitely a good way. If you wanted to, you could type it all properly. You don't have to use abbreviations like I've done. You can literally type it all as clear, as close as you can to proper, you know, and then adjust it and edit it better, properly, perfect it. Like when you bring that when you copy and paste that text over into the parts of your game in Tyranobuilder, and if you feel confident enough, you can just do it all directly within Tyranobuilder anyway, like I say. So I'm going into Word here. Okay, I'm going to paste this in. Hold on, so pasting this in, and it just works really nicely sometimes. So let's I'm going to go over to here for a second. I'm going to make this nice and big. I'm going to go zoom in down, just to keep that nice and orderly, a bit bigger so it's easier to see. Just it's better for me on my damn eyes, right? So well, one thing we do need to do is put it all on the left side. Yeah, the alignment was wrong. Zoom out there. Oh my god, it's a big planner. Smaller please, Rich. Okay, so let's just go here for a second. Maybe it would be good to have it on the side. I don't know, like 2 parts. I'm not too sure actually. Hold on. Okay, let's see. Okay, we'll have it like this for now. So page break, you know, I'll just highlight it. Do things to break it up for yourself. You know, play music, I'll just keep it like that as a simple yellow. Labels will make red. How about that? Labels will make blue. Just every label is going to be blue, so we can see what we're looking at. Okay, everything that's a label is going to be blue. Okay, it's a label. There you go. Okay, there's not many labels when you look at it, really. Got 2 characters, so it looks like more. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, when you look at all the dialogue, it looks really simple to understand anyway, really. I say 2 characters were talking there, like when Neo says thanks a lot to Sue after she offers the food, but they don't need to be in different scenes, as I say, or different labels, as I say. Let's save here. So let's just have a look at what we got. When it's all color coded, it looks much more simple to understand. So okay, so we've got a page break, we've got this. Let's make all of these red. I'll change the background to like yellow. Whenever a background changes, we'll make it yellow as well, just so that's nice and clear to look at, right? Background changes. See, this kind of thing, it makes it nice and easy to understand what you're looking at, you know. A little bit over there, the letter, it doesn't matter. It's a rough thing. Okay, where we are. So okay, into my background changes, we just go back. So like I say, in fact, while I'm here, I'll just delete this one. Don't need that. You can just do it in Word. I think just doing it in Word's okay. It's nice and colourful, nice and clear to look at, you know. So let's look at it. So the background changes when we get into this room anyway, so we'll have that background change. Okay, so anytime there's buttons on the screen followed by a stop, I'm going to have it so that the text is going to be red, just on this plan we're looking at. Okay, text will just leave, like, you know, let's make these like highlighted blue or something, the text. So okay, so this is going to be red, this is going to be highlighted blue because it's text. Jump room, will just leave it as it is. I think jump room could also be, you know, red, really, same as a stop, really, you know what I mean. Hold on, there's text. I think that makes a lot of sense. Save it. So we'll go here as well. Okay, text, you get the idea, right? So yes, I'm starving. Now it's a different character talking. Oh, hold on. Two branches show up, right? So the branches are obviously red. That's what they are. So, and the stop is red as well. So yeah, right? Is that right? Hold on. Yeah. So going down a bit further, I'll just go. What I'll do is I'll bring this down to another page. It's kind of annoying anyway. Leave that line here. It's kind of good, I think, to understand the separation between two characters. Yes, I'm starving. More text. Background change. More text. This is the end. So any ends are going to be any ends or any choices I'm making red. Text in blue and red. And this is a very, very nice color-coded guide now for myself. If I go up here, yeah. So let's have a look at it. Okay, let's have a look now. So looks all right, nice and clear. I think it doesn't look too bad when you look at it like this, right? Does it? It's better than coding, man. Come on. So you've got a page break at the top. Anything, any little points like page break, scene, basically page equals scene. Music, background changes. Background's always yellow. See, the labels are in dark blue. Text. Let's look. So we've got two choices here, two branches or clickable areas, which take us to labels. We've got this stop in red also. So the two labels are blue, obviously. The different labels are blue. So Joe says, "How are you?" Background change. You see Joe. And we get this text here. All the text is in the blue. So show text, followed by text, followed by remove text. We get two red choices again, branches or clickable areas, and a stop following them, which takes us then to labels. So one label being good, one label being bad. Okay. On Joe, and he's got his text there, as you can see. Yeah, is this right? It is right. Yeah. Bad is exactly the same. Or if we was to click on, I say it jumps us back to the room that we see. What's her name? Okay, Sue. Okay. It's the same thing. Background change. You see the picture of her, then you'll see the text, what she's saying. Sandwiched between a show text and remove text. And then we've got two choices, okay, branches, as I say, yes, I'm starving, or no, I'm full, I had something already, followed by a stop. Or you got, and those go to labels, don't forget, so yes, I'm starving, with some text, because Sue says, I'll get you some food, hashtag there with her name for it, and then the same for his answer. So the background might change, you see the picture of it, and then thanks a lot, he says. Then we jump back to the room. But if we would have hit the first one before and said no, then it would have taken us to this label. No, I'm full. I had something already. Text, and then we got jump to the room. Okay. So basically, what I'm saying is the main thing is this room, right? The main thing is this room at the top here. This page, the main thing on this page is the first part, the room, with just the label being room of an image and some choices. So we've got two characters, right? Joe and Sue. Now, if I wanted to, I could have made these branches take us to these characters, but rather than their entire labeled area, you know, text and everything, rather than that all be included on the one page, this room page, like on here, I could have put them on another page. So this could be like, this could be a scene, e.g. Scene 1. Okay. Well, if I wanted to, I could have made these go not just to labels, yeah, like see, like a label Joe, you know, or a label Sue, right? Which I could have done that, you know. To make that understandable, I'll literally, you know, show that just really quickly here by going to a blue. Can't even get the right blue, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah, just remind myself it's a label. But if I wanted to, I could have chose the scene, because you can change the scene for the clickable areas and the branches. So what I'm saying is to make it less cluttered once you're in here. Let's say this is scene 1. Okay, you see in Tyranobuilder, if I was to have 10 characters and lots of things going on, it would be so confusing. So if I wanted to, on this first page, scene 1, this scene 1 could literally just be room, you know. I could literally change the name of this scene if I wanted to. Like, I could literally change the name of it, you know. Like, rename this scene. Well, it's not letting me do it, but you know what I'm saying? I could have changed this scene, you know? It could have been the room. And if I didn't know, then I could just even put a label. There's a label in here anyway for room, so I would put a label in there, right? But what I'm saying is, if I made scene 2 now, I could make Joe scene 2, and I could make Sue scene 3, and I could make like 58 characters or whatever, and every one is a different scene. And within their scene, for example, if we look at their scenes, like Joe, for example, Joe is in a label, but he could also be under a scene, you know. So basically it would be like that. So you'd have Joe, it'd be scene, I don't know, scene 46 or scene 44, you know, label Joe, and I might even call it that. It might not be called 46. It was scene Joe, you know, label Joe as well if you want to. I mean, you know, it depends on what he's saying, but it might be, I might put a label in there, you know. Depends on how I am. And that would include all of Joe's stuff. So Joe's first bit of text with the background, the first bit of text that he says, with a question, with some answers here, like some branches, followed by more labels for the answers, like good or bad, and what happens after those, what labels they jump to. So everything regarding Joe could be done within one scene, and his scene could be Joe. And it might not even be this one character, it might just be an empty room, like the scene, empty room, you know, empty, I don't know, empty kitchen or whatever, you know, and I could be in there and there's different choices coming on the screen asking, do you want to cook eggs or cook chicken? And I choose, you know, and the text on the screen, like the narrator's telling me, you begin to cook the eggs, and then you'll see the picture of someone cooking some eggs or something, you know, and the next picture you'll see him eating the eggs taste nice. You know, so it doesn't have to be just a discussion between you and someone necessarily. It could be anything, you know. You know, be videos playing or whatever as well. So I think it's a very, very good thing to have, like, if you've got a lot of labels going on, if it's not just like one label with some text, it would seem to me that if you've got a lot, if you really do have a lot of text, okay, or a lot of choices that you're making, like in branches and things like that, if you do have that, it's better to like break things down. You may have lots and lots of scenes, but it's the best thing to do. Just mark them off so you know what's what, like with good names or numbers if you want to, numbers and names if you want. Scene 46, you know, Joe's goodbye, I don't know, or Sally's hello, you know, Sue's hello, you know, and Benny's breakfast, whatever the fuck it is, you know, downtown shopping, fight scene, whatever it is, you know, you just literally mark them off, and you can just go to those, and rather than scrolling through lots and lots of conversations between multiple characters, rather than having to do all of that, you just keep everything nice and tidy. You may even have like 5 different scenes, like 5 different pages or 10 scenes regarding one character, because the different choices, let's say, you know, you have one scene, okay, and it's like a restaurant, and Joe is in the restaurant and Joe is selling you food, and you have many different, you know, things you're going to choose from. It might be really simple, you just make a choice and a picture shows up, but sometimes if it does get very complicated with a different text on the screen, different things happening, you may really want to have different labels in different scenes, is what I'm saying. So just see with your mind how many labels you can kind of handle within one scene, but don't make it too complicated however you're working things. It's good to plan well in advance, like typing it in a software like Word, I think, something like this. It just makes it much more easier to work with. Not type like this. Obviously you would type things much better and proper, but you can make your notes quick and then adjust it later if you want to, but you know, do it like this, you know. Yeah, that's basically about how I see it. So I'm going to save that there. It makes a lot of sense to do it this way, I think, you know, and you'd have obviously everything works like that. So even the room itself, see, the room itself, we didn't have everything, you know, you don't have to have almost as you don't have to have everything on one page. You can jump between pages, but you must keep in mind sometimes that you know, music, if it's within a certain label, if music starts after a label starts and then there is a stop, it's to my understanding that the music would stop as well when you get to another, when you go to another scene. I mean, especially if that music's just within one scene. I'm not too sure, I might be wrong though. You see where you can put that. Anyway, but forget that, let's just check something out now. Okay, so this is Tyranobuilder, right? I thought I had to show you Tyranobuilder a little bit on the screen here, because I've not even gone into the software much. I'm just talking about how we can arrange things. So yeah, so we don't really need to look at much here anyway at the moment. It's just look at the other video and you'll see some of the stuff I'm doing on that. Now let me just do something quickly. So I'm going to basically delete our thing here, our pictures. I'm going to go into Fire Alpaca again, just really quickly. Okay, I'll show you something. So it seems to be as simple as that, right? So let's imagine, so, and I'm going to do this, right? I'm going to say, so let's imagine we've got world or map, right? I'll put world, okay, like that. It's not a text. Then we'll have like, what's this? Oh, hold on, I didn't need to do that. Let's just make another one. Okay, let's go. Okay, area 1, for example, right? Like this. Okay, let's just make it nice and simple. Area 2, for example, yeah. You could have 10 areas if you wanted to, you know. And then, like, let's imagine we do another one here. So I move this down. Right? You get the idea, right? It could be anything. Another area within an area, you know. So let's just say, I don't know, person 1. You get the idea, right? Person 2, person 3. For example, yeah, you might have 3 people in this area over here. You know, let's just go in there quickly for a second. Okay, like that. See, rules up here. So they branch out. You see. Bloody hold on. Like the way you can just click on them. It's good. You know. And then these are all labels. Just so these are all labels. You have to understand that. So if I duplicate this quickly for a second, move this across, you might have more people here, see, or it might be something else. It might be bomb, gun, cake, or fish. Some different things you might pick up along the way. Some goodies or something. So path 1, path 2, things like that. You know what I'm saying? It might not be an area. Some different rooms or whatever it might be. These are just choices, but like each one of these things, the world, or area 1, or area 2, or person 1, person 2, person 3, or bomb, gun, fish. Every one of these is a label. Yeah, literally a label. So this is it. I'll show you. Look, this is label, 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 label. They're all labels. Every one of these is a label. Now, if you've got all of these labels, every one, if you've got them all on one scene, like one page in scene 1, you're gonna have a fucking nightmare. So you might want to have, like, you know, like I say, scene 1 might be just the world with scene 1. So let's say, for example, right, put S1. Right, scene 1 might consist of just these, you know. No, even that's wrong. No. Scene 1 might be just the world with some branches, and they branch out to these. So they branch out to these 2. Now, this would be scene 2, right? Am I right in saying, yeah, you could literally do it like that, you know? And then scene, you know, sorry, scene 3, you get the idea, right? Scene 3, etc., etc. And it would have to be scene 4, you know, scene 5, scene 6, and they're all labels. They've all got a label. Now you could listen. You could have multiple labels, and you're thinking, well, why don't I have multiple labels? And why is it always one label per scene, right? Scene 7 here. The reason is, hold on, scene 8. Well, the reason you're thinking that, scene 9, is because we're not including the thing, are we? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, for example, each of these people is going to have labels. So let me just show you what I mean. Okay, so let's imagine now that person 1, okay, listen, person 1 here, it's not very good colour, let's go to pink or something. Person 1 is here, person 2 is here, right, and person 3 is here, yeah, right? Well, each one of these is a scene, don't forget. Each one of these though I've to make it nice and tidy, I've made them labels within scenes, right? Whereas all the other ones have been given just one label per scene, with an image or whatever it is and text going on or whatever. For these ones, like scene 4, scene 5 and scene 6, as you see with the square rectangle, the pink rectangles there, these would have dialogue, right? So let's say person one is talking. If person one is talking to the player, if person one is talking to the player, he or she's going to have various labels, more labels within this. And to make it nice and simple and illustrate that, I'll use orange to show you. So you'd have like labels, and and there'd be like dialogue going on, blah blah blah. There might be branches, etc., etc. And there might be a label there, right, where this person says hello, what you fucking doing, or whatever. Excuse my language, yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, because it's already a label anyway, so I probably wouldn't even need to put a label there. This character comes on the screen, right? L. You go label person one, yeah. So immediately you just have the text, right? Hold on a second. You just have the text, right? You have your text. Text 1, 2, 3 parts to the text. Don't forget, as you know. On your scenes, don't forget, you would also have your, every time at the top of the scene, you'd always have your page break, as I say, page break, and a stop, right, or a jump at the end of what's going on. So if there's a set of characters talking to you, blah blah blah, right? Well, that's basically what's going to happen. So, person one might be talking. You may want to have another label, so a label within label, like I just said. But either way, there's going to be text, okay, followed by your branches and all that stuff. So I'll put some red ones, like branches, followed by a stop, right? Can't even do, and then more labels. See, so then you have like, I'll go to orange. You'd have like, let's say there's two different ones, right? Two different branches, and they'll take you to two different labels, followed by whatever the text is going to be, reading blah 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 blah, followed by a exiting of this thing right at the very end. I'll put a point, meaning that is where it stops, or whether you're going to jump back. And where you jump back to, obviously, is you'd go back after you've finished, your either one of the outcomes from the text. It might just be one little bit of text to read, but if it's something with choices, once you've made your decisions and you've got your outcome, and it's all, when you've finished talking to person number one, it's going to basically go back to this area, you see, where those people are. It won't go over here, obviously, will it? Of course not. It's gonna, it's gonna go to the area where they are. So you're back in this room. You can see your three people here, and you've been talking to one of those. And now you can choose again, because you're back under this label. You can now talk to one of these characters. See? You see what I'm saying? But what it will do is, on this page itself, on this particular page, this label, this one, area, which is a scene 2, area 1, okay. Once you're in area 1, not area 51. Once you're in area 1, scene 2, the label as well and everything in it. Within that, you're going to have again a similar thing with your choices and stuff, to choose which other scene you want to go to. You want to go to this one, or this one, or this one. But what you will not have is these ones over here. You won't have those ones, because they only come by going through the choices in the world. So for example, when we're in the world here, we get the choices to go only to either scene 1 or scene 2, which is area 1 or area 2. Basically it's scene 3, so scene 2 or scene 3, from which we can get our choices to go to either here, here and here, and they're all in different labels. See? So you wouldn't be able to just choose them off the bat. It's a hierarchy. That's how it basically works. So I think dealing with each thing separately on a different page is the way to go, and by typing it or work, you can use different softwares like I'm using. You can use Notepad, Word, Excel, any art softwares. I'm using Fire Alpaca here. You can use whatever the hell you want to plan everything right, color code things, etc, etc, right? I'm just going to keep this here as a little note for myself as well, you know. Keep little notes and things. It's good to do for yourself, you know. Make videos of your progress, even if they're just private, and keep them somewhere for yourself just to see for notes. It's a good thing to do, you know. And come back and check your notes, work on things, and that way, if you're doing things separately and get your projects, get a folder or something, get various Word files for different, you can plan them all separately if you want in Excel or Word. I could just use one Word file here for a specific scene if I wanted to. Multiple files or multiple pages, it's up to you to work out exactly what's going to happen within each label, I'd say, and keep each scene, if you can, to one label. And when I say label, I mean like one main label. Like if you're talking to one character, and then under that one character within the same scene, that character may lead you to more labels, and they might still be on the same page. It doesn't matter, because if you can put them all in, but if it's too much to handle, even that you can branch out to different scenes too. And make sure you name your scenes. Okay, what I'm saying about that is, like, if you've got an image here like this, okay, if you've got like this set up here like this, you can see where I've got, you know, world, and then you've got area 1 and area 2. Or I've got my world as scene 1 here, I've written this as. But so you can name them accordingly, don't worry. And when you get to like person 1, let's say person 1 here, or person 2, you know, you'll have to know, like, when they're talking. So for example, if there's text, and then there's various different things that person's saying. Like for example, person 1 might be called Joe, and you say Joe happy, or you might have scene 2, it might be the same character, but Joe angry. You see what I'm saying? And that might be based on a choice you've made. So you might be in area 1, and rather than going to different three visible different characters on the screen, it might be just one character, but the choices you make might be something you say to him. Like you might say, hello Joe, how it's good to see you. Or you might say something rude and say, Joe, you smelly bastard, I'm so angry on seeing you here today, you scumbag. And then he might be really upset. So you might choose on what you say. You choose to say hello, or you choose to punch him, or whatever it is, and then that would take you to a different label. So person 1 might be Joe, and person 2 might be Joe, but it might be a different one. Like it might be angry or sad, and you would see different, you know, things playing out. So it's a hierarchy system. I might have rambled a lot. It might be really rough what I'm showing here, but I'm doing this for myself, thinking out loud too, and hopefully it's going to help people with any planning you're doing for games in other softwares too, or stories. But you know what I mean? Yeah. Thanks for watching this. Okay, take care, guys. Yeah.